No, businesses die because you think you live in a perfect world and you're going to ignore and you're going to say everything is going to be okay. Everything is going to be figured out on its own. No, the fuck it's not. You as a leader, you got to be in the hot waters all the time.
I wanted 10 million people to impact. So I don't care what the couple says, what that person says, what this person says.
Guys, what's up? Welcome back. We have a very special guest today. As you know, March 30th is approaching. It's my world-class closer convention. March 30th, we have 10 plus world-class speakers. And the only speakers, actually, when I looked at the lineup this morning, have all not just produced 7 figures of sales themselves, have built up sales teams. And we have an individual right now that's built up a sales team, not remote, a sales team in-house. One of the hardest things to do is to keep culture in-house. And if you guys go back to my Instagram, you guys can just see stories we did right now. People are yelling like crazy. Everybody's sharp. Everybody's on the ball. Everybody treats people like family, and the ability to build sales teams simultaneously, all different, that compete, but at the end of the day, everybody loves each other and everybody's family. That's what culture is all about, is everybody's different, but at the same time, they can all come back at the end of the day and hug each other like a good artist, like a good boxer, like a good UFC fighter. So that's what we have here today. A man that has built up a company that has now been evaluated of over $100 million, has hundreds of sales guys right now, has an office. How big's the office right now? I don't want to pay
20,000 square feet.
20,000 square feet down here in Connecticut. One of the most energetic sales team, which obviously vibes out with myself. I've spoken at his events in Puerto Rico and down here in Connecticut. So Albert, I want to introduce to you guys. Albert, thank you so much for speaking at my convention.
Brother,
Appreciate
thank you so
brother.
much for being here. Your training is just so freaking great. Guys upstairs, they're still talking about it. So I want to say, first and foremost, thank you for being here. It's a pleasure to be able to be with you and also being chosen to be one of the speakers.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. And when I look at a speaker lineup, I wanted diversity.
Yes.
There's a lot of people right now moving, and the reason why I think it's going to be so crucial for you to come out, there's a lot of people moving to these remote positions, and they forget to understand that, content's one thing. Us doing this content and podcast is one thing, making, content online. But I was telling the guys out there, I'm like, you can't fake culture.
No.
You can't fake culture. Like, you can fake content online, but you can't fake people. Like, do people actually love you when you show up? Do they respect you? Do you have real connections? Do you have real friends? So what do you think it was from your aspect that has built up this intense sales culture? And I'll show scenes from it, but this intense sales culture that's full of competition, yet love balanced at the same time. Because I think that's the hardest thing, even for people that are watching this that are remote.
Yeah, great question. I believe that you cannot build something that you're not, right? So you said you can't fake culture. That's absolutely right. But the culture starts with the leader. And if I came here and I'm negative, I'm down, I don't believe in sales, I'm just trying to make money, then that's exactly the energy that I'm prescribing to other people. So it starts with the leader that needs to have conviction of having the right mission. I look at our sales culture here like Wakanda. And the reason why I say like Wakanda is because Wakanda has several different tribes, but they all stand for one mission. That mission is to protect, to provide, and to give people an opportunity to become better. In here we show up every day and we know what we need to do. We're here to make fucking money. We're here to be able to feed our families. We're here to be able to go there and take somebody who's average. Okay, never done sales. We have dishwashers. We have people that are valet drivers, construction workers that never once picked up the phone, and today making 6 figures. Wow. And the reason why is because we dedicate ourselves to train them. We train every day, twice a day, to make them a superstar on the phone. And that's what shows them that I'm part of the right company.
So you say training is also a key component. Of course, walking in with a conviction, but you would say daily training is a key component?
100%. I'll tell you why. Because they know that this company is investing their time, money, and energy. Most companies, you know what they say to you? Hey, I just need you to on the phone. I need you to sell something. But they don't take their time to train their people on how to sell something.
Yeah, I've seen you go extensively in both ways. Like extensive on the investment. Okay, well, 3 ways. In yourself, number 1. Yeah. Because you can't invest into another speaker or a trainer if you haven't invested in yourself. So in yourself, number 1, I see the investments on the back end that you make into yourself. And I think people discredit that. The second thing is the people that you invest to inside of the company. Because I always say like your personal investments should outweigh the business investments too as well. Yeah. So when I'm going to work for somebody, if I was 15, 16, the number 1 thing I'm looking at is like, okay, how does this guy spend the profits? You know what I mean? Because I see you, like whenever it's game time to do something, let's freaking do it. Shut up about the money. Yeah. Let's freaking do it. Let's hire this guy. Let's do this. Let's do it to this training. Let's go host this event. Let's continue doing sales trainings, etc. So to me, that's a huge thing. When I look at a leader, I'm like, wow, their business investments can outweigh just their, or their business expenses too as well. It's just not just investments. It's also expenses. This office, however you want to look at it, expense or investment, this expense of how however much it costs every single month. That's a huge component for me coming into, you know, as a salesperson working for a sales leader, because I see how much you invest.
Yeah.
Rather than you just driving 14 Rolls Royces, which I'm sure you could.
Yeah.
You can lease and finance 40 million different cars.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, this guy's spending on his company. That's the number one criteria. Like I always ask people, I'm like, would you go work for yourself?
Right.
So have you seen a significant impact inside of your business when you started not just spending inside of your business, but spending inside of yourself?
Yeah.
Was it very transactional? Like, did you see it huge? Because I know you've been investing in yourself, you know, as a salesperson and as a business owner for a while now.
Yeah. So I want to piggyback off that because I think it's important for everyone to understand that this company started in the attic.
Wow.
Right, with 4 people. And I made a lot of
Were
money.
you paying for that attic?
I was.
You were paying rent?
Yeah.
How much was that rent, if you don't mind me asking?
$1,700.
So you're paying $1,700. How many people were inside of that attic?
4.
4 people.
Yeah.
It could
Right
it
now,
fit
the
more?
rent here is $40,000.
40,000. So you went from 1,400, 1,700,
1,700
to 40,000. How many people could you fit inside of the attic?
Probably 12.
Got it.
we had closets.
Okay, got it.
Our offices were closets.
Got it,
And it's
okay.
insane. But the point I'm trying to make is that I made a lot of money in sales. I made millions. The number 1 producer for many different carriers. And I work for so many different companies. And one thing I learned is that the reason why people leave companies is because the companies don't invest into people. So when I said I'm going to be a business owner and I'm going to build something that's going to last, by the way, our retention rate here, Daniel, is 78%.
Wow.
78%
Off
is our
a floor
retention.
that's on calls every single
every day.
Which if people aren't watching, that's very high.
High standards. There's no bullshit here.
Right.
You know, you come in, you got to do your part as well. But 78% retention. And the reason why is because we put people over profits. Yes, I could be driving 40 different Rolls Royces. But you know what I choose? I choose to be able to give people bonuses. We have 3 different tier car bonuses. I don't want to be the only one driving nice cars. I got the whole parking lot. You see the parking lot. People driving Butterfly, BMWs, all these different things, right? It's because as a leader, you want to create an opportunity that is equal for your salespeople to not only feel, but become the boss of their own life.
And how long, my question is this, how long did it take from going from 4 sales reps in an attic to where you are right now?
6 years.
6 years, which is crazy because that's very, like, you know, in retrospect, 6 years, some people can't make their first commissions of $3,000 in 6 years and they struggle. And you built out a company that's valued over $100 million.
Yes.
And, you know, $40,000 a month for rent. I know inside of your head, you're like, well, Daniel, the change wasn't fast because I've been busting my ass off since, you know, the network marketing days, etc. But within the company, the growth within 6 years, because some people can't launch off a $5,000 a month within 6 years. Like you've grown, maybe not in your head, because we know as business owners, like this shit took us 25 years. But in 6 years, your growth is unheard of. Your culture's unheard of. The energy's unheard of. And the money's unheard of in 6 years.
Right.
What was it? What do you think like launched you guys so tight? Because I always say success is a decision.
Be careful who you allow in your table. And I think it's so important that when I'm sitting down at the table that I know the people that are sitting next to me are aligned with the same mission. I know that my guys up there, Emir's, Kevin's, right? All those guys that are sitting at our table, they're willing to show up at 3 in the morning and work for 24 hours and not complain once. And that's the beauty of building a business, building it with the people that are willing to die with you on the field. And that's the reason why we became so successful, is because these guys, they believe in what I believe in. We align ourselves and we work our asses off to make it happen.
How much of your time is spent right now on business management, managing the operations behind the scene, the hiring, the systems, etc., and leading and training? Where does your time go as a leader that gets busier and busier for people that are getting busier and busier right now, making 6 figures?
Managing the business, I would say about 25%.
Wow.
However, educating, developing, and working with my leaders, 100%. I'm here every day, 6 in the morning. I'm spending time with my leaders.
So you figured out a way to do 125.
Yeah.
Because you just said 100% in leadership, right? And then you said 25%. So you figured out a way. I know some people are watching this like, what the fuck does that mean? No, you figured out a way to do 125 because you also know you had to understand systems and operations.
Yes.
And you can't point the finger without doing it too as well. And then you said after, whether that's before or after I do that throughout the day, I'm going to always go 150% on my sales, my leadership, my marketing, my training, etc. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you feel as a sales leader that when people come in, because there's also a younger audience that comes in, do you feel like sometimes you have to become a babysitter to these people? And how do you draw the line as a sales leader, like not wiping their ass and keeping them in check? Is it telling them a little bit about your story? How do you develop a culture where they don't complain? Because you said words that are important. People complaining. I don't hear people complain. I don't hear people, talk negative about themselves. You might hear it sometimes before, but as a third-party audience that walks in, what's so important is I'm listening to people, right? And I don't hear any of that. So I don't hear the wiping ass method. I'm tired, blah, blah, blah. I don't hear any of that. that. So what? How did you, remove yourself from babysitter to stay in coach mode? Because I feel like a lot of leaders, they stay in babysitting mode.
Yes. So we're very careful with who we bring into our house. So our acceptance rate here is lower than Harvard. I mean, we have 350 interviews per month.
Wow.
Out of 350 interviews per month, we're hiring about 5 people. We have a 3-step interview process that they have to show us that they can get on the phone. During the interview process, they have to show us that they can do the work. They have to meet with me.
Is that on the second stage?
The first stage is the meeting with the VP to tell them about the opportunity and see if they fit into a culture.
Right.
Okay. The second step is, can you do the mechanical work? Can you pick up the phone? Do you have the confidence? Do you have the ability to speak? Can you read the script? Can you answer some questions? Right? Do you have common sense?
How much of those people, I want to pause right now, how much of those people get dropped on stage number 2? Do you know the rough percentage of what those people are? What is it?
We have 60% of people that don't make it past 2.
Wow. And do you think that's a main ingredient to your hiring process?
I think the main ingredient is us being able to really see it. Is this person have the balls and desire to be on the phone? Because when they go upstairs, it's not like, oh, here, make some phone calls.
Right.
Our guys drill them.
Right.
Our guys, like the entire center, they make noise. They go hard on them. When they call, our clients give them hard time as well. So they hang up on them and like, yeah, can you do that for 250 times a day?
Right.
And you'll see people walk away. They'll quit on themselves. During the second stage of the process, they'll quit on themselves.
Wow. I like that you said like desire and hunger, because I always say like your desire and hunger inside of sales should outweigh the passion.
Yes.
Like if you come in as a salesperson, you're like, I got to be passionate, you're not going to fucking make it.
Right.
Because like your desire and hunger just to make it and make money and scrap whatever you're passionate about right now, whether it's DJing, soccer, whatever the fuck you do, and you come in here and say my hunger, desire, I don't care about how I look, I care about how my future looks and my paycheck looks. And I seen that on your sales culture right there. Now, I have another question going into leadership right now for sales leaders that are developing into sales leaders. When there's a conflict that happens inside of the business, when you have people, that are a little bit, low, talk bad to somebody else, what's the communication with on how you direct people inside of the business to keep them going when you hear negativity come inside of the sales floor? How do you deal with it? Because I feel like a lot of people get caught right here. They can hire great people, but then you said your retention rate is over 75%. If your retention rate's over 75%, you're keeping great people. Anybody can hire great people, but can you keep them? And I feel like your team is unprospectable, they're unrecruitable, and I think there's problems that arise every single day. So it's not if you can bring them in, it's how you're dealing with these problems.
Yes.
How do you deal with problems as a leader that come from your sales staff?
Law of entropy, right?
What was it?
Law of entropy.
Okay.
And anything that shows up, I don't neglect it.
Law of entropy?
Yeah, entropy.
Okay.
Yeah, and what we do is that as soon as it arrives, right, you address it and you kill it. You do not neglect. Businesses do not die because your intentions, I'm going to go and I'm going to kill my business. No, businesses die because you think you live in a perfect world and you're going to ignore and you're going to say everything is going to be okay. Everything is going to be figured out on its own. No, the fuck it's not. You as a leader, you got to be in the hot waters all the time. So problem occurs, go address that problem right away. Do not let that problem stay more than a minute.
Okay, I was just about to ask you. You finished it off. What's the time frame almost? It's like, it's right immediately. Like once you have the chance to do it, you do it.
Immediately.
Like you're on a call, the moment you hang up that call, boom, you go address it.
Exactly.
You don't give it overnight, because I'm getting practical. You don't give it overnight.
I'll tell them, hey, tell the client you call him back. Albert, it's a $3,000 commission deal.
Right.
Tell the client you'll call him back. Because that $3,000 commission deal is not more important than the problem we're about to address.
Right.
So I tell them to do it right away. It's literally the speed of implementation. Can you go implement that right now?
Right. It's like the speed of you solve problems. Like if you want your business, I just told them, I'm like, you won't outperform the person you are behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So if you were to, solve that problem slow, you're going to get slow clients. You're going to get people that walk slow inside of the business. It's almost as if like the problem doesn't pass you the moment it comes to you.
That's right.
Is what you're saying.
And the second thing I want to say is that you are what you tolerate. So for us, you say, well, if somebody brings negativity to the floor, blah, blah, what do you do? There's no such thing, because this is not X average. This is X elite. You better fucking walk straight. You better fucking talk like you mean positivity, even if you don't want to.
Right.
You better show up and give your best as much as you can. But Albert, you don't understand. I don't need to understand.
Right.
Because the market doesn't understand. Market doesn't give a fuck. I don't train people to become victims. I train people to become victors. And you come here and you complain, that means I'm buying into your bullshit story.
Right.
And that means that you're selling me on something I don't want to buy.
And you just said the moment you tolerate it, right, it's become part of the standard inside of the business. So now they know they can do it again. And I feel like a lot of sales leaders allow people to complain to them and a shoulder to lean on. on, so that person knows that they can complain again. It's like a relationship.
Right.
If you know you can completely, it's like, I was in a relationship once, and I was dating an amazing woman from Peru years back, maybe 6-7 years ago. And one day, and I learned a lesson right there. I think we were in Dubai, and she brought up something that was completely untrue. And I remember that day I just raised my voice, right? Loud Italian people. When we argue, we're loud, right? We train, we're loud.
Yeah.
Raised my voice right away. And there was no insulting to her, but it was the voice raising. And she said, hey, whenever we have an argument, whether you're right or not, right? And she was a top leader in her space too, which taught me a lesson, right? She said, you never raise your voice. She's like, because if we raise our voice once, she's like, I never raise my voice. Because if we raise the voice once, it's gonna be a standard to always raise the voice, I said. So she's like, let's just never raise a voice. Let's just talk.
I love that.
And I feel like, and I always tell my salespeople that, I'm like, hey, listen, what you just said, whatever you accept inside of the business just becomes a standard inside of the business. So, I also feel like you have a winning culture inside of your business. Yes. Everybody's focused on winning more. The money's great, but you're focused on being the best version of yourself possible. So money's a byproduct of becoming the best version.
Right.
And I see that on your floor so heavily. I say, these people, yes, they're money hungry and they have desire to make money, but they're also hungry to change their identity of who they were when they walked inside of the door, which is huge. Because I feel like some people, they're going to say they want to make money, but they can't kill somebody in the past. Like I was telling them funny words. I'm like, guys, stop using stupid language. Like trash your stupid language when you're like no cap or bet. I'm like, you're not going to tell a fucking prospect that. So I'm like, you almost have to kill something. And do you feel like sometimes you lay that on them to say like, hey, forget who you were? Because there's some guys out here that were like myself, that were rough around the edges, and they got to drop the rough language. Because the rough language isn't what sells people. It's clean cut language, understanding your product, your script, being a professional behind the scenes and in front of the scenes. So I told them, I'm like, drop the rough language.
I'll tell you this. The clients buy on the other end because they believe that you're an expert. So when you use words like bet, no cap, or whatever words that people use nowadays, you're letting the client know that you're an amateur. And right away, the conviction of, should I do business with this person, goes away. Right? So to me, identity and self-conception is the first thing we teach here at Axelite. You're not who you used to be.
Self-conception.
Self-conception.
Got it.
Right? There's self-conception, there's your ideal self, and there's also self-image, right? So your self-conception is what you think of yourself at that specific moment. I'm not good, I suck, I'm an introvert, I'm not confident, right? That's your self-conception. You gotta have a sales personality. Everybody has a sales personality. You have to develop it. The second thing is, what is my image right now? Well, my image is that I dress like shit. I speak like I'm from the hood, right? And I'm trying to sell to millions. That does not match, right? So I need to be able to have an image that approaches my clientele, that is going to tell them, hey, I can trust this person. They look, speak, and behave as an expert in that field.
Right.
That's the second thing. And the third thing is, you have to constantly have a picture of, what is my ideal self? Maybe people look and say, well, my ideal self is being like Daniel G. I want to travel the world. I want to train people. I want to be able to make millions of dollars. Man, what does Daniel G do? How does he dress? How does he speak? How does he behave? And I'm going to start to learn from Daniel G and apply the things that I love about Daniel G and apply it to my life to build my self-image.
Oh, I like that, because you're becoming like your dream prospect, your dream employer, your idol. It's like you're becoming the person, because it's just like a relationship. Like if you have a common denominator inside of your life, it's because you're the person. Right. Like a lot of people attract common denominator prospects because they're the individual. I'm like, guys, listen, I'm like, you're cheap when you got to buy shit. You always want a fucking discount. You're always asking your friends, bro, we're homies. Yo, can you knock off another $2,000? I'm like, so why do you complain about it when you're on a call? Right. So, and I noticed that too as well. Like, your culture of individuals, when I speak to some of them, I knew in the past they were rough around the edges, and you could see the identity shift 150% of them becoming somebody new before they even think about the money inside of the business.
100%.
Right. So last thing is this: on March 30th, we have the World Class Closer Convention. I invited you out to come speak at the convention. There's gonna be thousands of people at the convention, and there's people from different walks of life: direct sales, network marketing, door-to-door sales, B2B sales, B2C sales, some real estate reps and insurance reps. I want to know a little bit about, your training can they expect to show up at the convention? Because, you built out something incredible. Is there anything that you've already been thinking about, to pour into my audience? Because I really want them to understand the people that I'm bringing out. I don't bring out just, any fucking random person on my stage. Doesn't matter if you pay me millions. I'm going to say, fuck no, you're not coming on my stage. Right. So I want to better understand, what can people expect when they come out as a salesperson, a sales leader. You know, there's already, you know, we're already over 50% sold out for the event. So those individuals that already purchased ticket or haven't purchased ticket yet, that are already on the fence, what can they expect from you?
One thing for sure they can expect is they're going to learn how to become an elite salesperson and leader. Okay, how to build a $100 million company. It doesn't matter if you're a sales leader or a salesperson. You're gonna have to know these 5 things that I'm gonna share with you on that day. That's gonna make you go from average to elite on income, personal life, business development, on all aspects. They're gonna be fired up because the things I'm gonna share with them is exactly the things I applied to build this company.
Wow. So you're saying the 5 things that you have applied to build a $100 million evaluated business in 6 years.
It's like there's 100 things.
Right.
But what I did is that for your event, I trimmed it down to 5 main things.
Correct.
That are gonna get them started on the right path.
And just to wrap this up, first of all, I'm excited to see those 5 things, and I'm not going to ask you right now, but even behind the scenes. The last thing is, you know, when you're speaking right now, there's a lot of people that bring in the ego into the conversation. They say that's easy for this guy. I think your story, which we can get into too at the event, I think it's even more incredible because, you know, I think you're at the lowest of the lowest. What I've seen you and what I've heard from you, like you're at the bottom of the barrel, that your story is like, you know, incomparable to some people's stories, whether it's like somebody like myself where my parents divorced, you know, you were in a refugee camp, correct? Yes. And, you know, I think some people have to, like when you start off, I really want you to nail in the fact that you came from the lowest of the lowest and there wasn't lower than that. There wasn't lower. The only thing was life after that. There wasn't lower than life. Like that was, you're already at your rock bottom.
Daniel, this podcast room is bigger than the room that I grew up in.
Wow.
So just to give
with
you
your whole family?
For my whole family. We lived in a 350 square foot room.
Wow.
Okay? Public bathrooms, public showers. So I came from nothing. And by the way, a lot of people may look at me and say, man, this guy has a heavy, thick accent. You're right. This guy has a cultural shock when he came here. You're right. Right? This guy did not come from money. You're right. So all the negatives, right? All the odds were against me. 99% chance of me not making it. But there was 1% chance, and I took that shit and I made it happen.
Wow.
And I'm going to share with you how to do it.
I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for taking the time to invite me out. And guys, Albert, March 30th, Miami. If you guys have not yet grabbed your tickets, click the link somewhere in this video, on the YouTube video below, or on the Instagram post below. Grab your tickets, Miami, March 30th. We got 10 world-class speakers. We're going to cover everything from, you know, sales marketing to sales leadership to selling one-on-one, selling multiple people, a complex sale. Albert's going to come out and pour into you guys. If you liked a version of this interview, watch till it gets a little bit deeper. This was just cutting the surface right now. Watch it till it gets a little bit deeper. Grab your guys' tickets. Albert, thank you so much, brother.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it.